When a woman ignores you, the very first thing you must understand is that losing your composure or reacting out of desperation will only push her further away. Many men panic when they feel that sudden shift, that silence, or that cold shoulder. They start overthinking, wondering what went wrong, and then they make the mistake of chasing, begging, or over explaining. But the truth is, the most powerful response in that moment is to remain calm and collected. Emotional control is everything because it shows strength, it shows confidence, and it shows that your sense of value doesn't depend on her actions. When she ignores you, what she's often doing is testing your frame. She wants to see whether you will break, whether you will lose yourself in fear of losing her. And if you do, she feels even more certain that she has control. But when you stay grounded, when you act like you're unfazed, she can't shake you. That's where attraction grows. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't feel hurt or confused. Of course you do. But the difference is that you don't let those emotions dictate your actions. You don't text her 10 times in a row. You don't blow up her phone with calls. You don't demand explanations. Instead, you show her that your world doesn't crumble just because she went silent. This is what separates a man who leads with strength from a man who follows his emotions blindly. She may ignore you for attention, for power, or simply because she wants to see how you handle pressure. Your calmness is what answers all of those unspoken questions without you saying a single word. Think about it like this. A man who stays collected under pressure becomes magnetic. He becomes unpredictable because he doesn't do what most men do. Most men chase, most men beg, most men try to fix things instantly. But when you take the opposite path, when you breathe, relax, and allow her to sit in her decision to ignore you, she begins to feel curiosity. She wonders why you're not reacting, why you're not falling apart, why you're not chasing like everyone else. That curiosity is what eventually pulls her back. This calmness also sends her a powerful subconscious message. You are not afraid to lose her. And when a woman senses that you are willing to walk away rather than compromise your dignity, her respect for you increases. Respect is the foundation of attraction, and it grows every time you refuse to let her control your emotions. By staying calm, you shift the dynamic back in your favor. Instead of giving her power through reaction, you reclaim it by showing self-mastery. That is when she begins to realize she cannot manipulate your attention so easily. The bottom line is simple. Staying calm and collected is not about pretending you don't care. It's about showing that you value yourself enough to not collapse under emotional games. It's about holding steady, keeping your composure, and letting her see that you are built differently. And when she sees that, she cannot ignore it for long. When a woman ignores you, one of the most powerful things you can do is shift your focus entirely back onto yourself. Too many men waste their energy trying to decode every little detail of her behavior, replaying conversations in their heads, or desperately trying to come up with the perfect message that will grab her attention again. But this constant focus on her only reinforces her position of power while draining you of your own. The real key lies in redirecting that same energy into your own life. When you begin to prioritize yourself, your goals, your passions, your physical and mental growth, you stop operating from a place of neediness. Instead, you move from a place of abundance. And that shift is something she feels deeply, even if you never say a word. By focusing on yourself, you demonstrate the one thing most attractive to women: independence. Independence shows her that your happiness doesn't depend on her replies, her attention, or her approval. It shows her that you're not sitting by the phone waiting for her to validate your worth. Instead, you're living your life in such a way that she realizes ignoring you it makes you stronger. That is incredibly powerful, because when a woman senses that she can't control your emotions through withdrawal, her strategy loses its impact. She may have expected you to spiral into over pursuit or insecurity, but instead she sees you thriving, growing, and glowing without her. And this doesn't just mean pretending to be busy, it means actually investing in yourself. Go to the gym, improve your health, work on your career, spend time with people who uplift you, dive into your passions, and chase the things that light you up inside. When you do this, two things happen simultaneously. First, your own sense of self-worth grows naturally, which builds confidence that no one can take from you. Second, she begins to notice that your attention is no longer revolving around her. And when she feels that shift, it creates a powerful emotional reaction in her, because she realizes she's no longer the center of your world. What you'll find is that women often come back, not when you chase them, but when you stop chasing altogether. Why? Because the silence of your withdrawal and the strength of your self-focus highlight the contrast between you and every other man who reacts desperately when ignored. Instead of begging her to return, you silently communicate through your actions that you are perfectly fine without her. This message doesn't push her away, it actually draws her closer, because true confidence is magnetic. When you focus on yourself, you also protect your own emotional state. You stop tying your mood to her unpredictable behavior and start anchoring it to your own achievements and growth. That makes you stronger, calmer, and far more attractive. She begins to wonder what has changed in you, why her ignoring isn't breaking you, and why you seem even more confident than before. That curiosity alone can make her return, but even if she doesn't, you've already won, because you built yourself into a man of higher value. The necessary ending here is clear. The moment you stop focusing on her and start focusing on yourself, you regain control over your life. And that is exactly what makes her wonder about you again. When a woman ignores you, the worst thing you can do is chase her harder, because that only communicates weakness and insecurity. Instead, one of the most effective responses is to mirror her energy and give her the exact same silence she's giving you. When she pulls away, you don't run after her, you step back too. This balance of energy speaks volumes without you having to say a single word. Women pay attention to how you react when they test you, because in many cases, ignoring you is exactly that, a test. She wants to see if you'll panic, lose control, and start begging for her attention, or if you'll remain calm, composed, and unbothered. When you give her the gift of silence, you show her that you're not emotionally dependent on her. The truth is, silence is often louder than words. It creates a void that she can't help but notice, and that void makes her question her own actions. When you don't chase, you force her to sit with the reality that her ignoring didn't manipulate you into doing what she wanted. Instead, it exposed her own absence in your life. This is when she starts wondering what you're doing, who you're spending your time with, and whether she's losing her influence over you. That wondering creates tension, and tension creates attraction. Mirroring her behavior also protects your self-respect. Too many men lower their standards just to keep a woman's attention, accepting disrespectful behavior in exchange for temporary validation. But when you stop rewarding her silence with extra effort, you show her that you don't tolerate immaturity or games. This doesn't mean being rude, cold, or trying to hurt her. It simply means you match her energy. If she gives you distance, you give her distance. If she wants space, you let her have it. That self-control makes you stand out because it communicates strength. And strength is something women deeply respect, even if they don't admit it outright. It's also important to understand that ignoring you is often not about you personally. It's about her emotions, her ego, or her desire to test your confidence. By not reacting negatively, you demonstrate emotional maturity. You show her that you won't be pulled into drama or emotional games. Over time, this makes her see you as different from most men who would have cracked under the pressure. And the moment she realizes that her silence doesn't control you, she starts to feel a shift in power. That's when curiosity and even regret start to creep in. What's powerful about this approach is that it gives you the upper hand without any force. You're not trying to control her, you're simply controlling yourself. That calm confidence speaks louder than anything you could text, call, or say. When she ignores you and you respond with equal silence, she's left with her own thoughts. And those thoughts will almost always turn back toward you. The necessary ending here is simple. By matching her silence instead of chasing, you maintain your dignity, create curiosity, and allow her to realize on her own that ignoring you doesn't work. When a woman ignores you, one of the smartest things you can do is shift your energy back toward yourself and your own life. Instead of obsessing over why she's being distant, you invest that time and attention into building yourself up. This doesn't just distract you from overthinking, it actually makes you more attractive. Women are naturally drawn to men who are busy, focused, and constantly improving themselves. When she sees that her silence didn't throw you off track, but instead motivated you to double down on your goals, it sends a powerful message about your strength and independence. Most men make the mistake of trying to win her attention back by doing more for her. They send long texts, call multiple times, or go out of their way to prove their value. But that only backfires because it shows that your world revolves around her approval. The truth is, a woman will only respect you if she sees that you respect yourself enough not to abandon your purpose for her. When you focus on your passions, your career, your fitness, your growth, you remind her that you're not a man who begs for validation. You're a man who creates value on his own. That confidence is magnetic. Shifting your energy back to yourself also helps you maintain emotional balance. Chasing after someone who's ignoring you drains your spirit and builds resentment. But when you redirect that energy into something productive, whether it's hitting the gym, working on your craft, learning new skills, or even enjoying your hobbies, you fill yourself with a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. That positive energy changes the way you carry yourself. You walk differently, you talk differently, you give off a vibe that people can feel, and women notice this shift. The very same woman who ignored you may start to wonder why you suddenly seem happier and more focused without her attention. It also creates mystery. If she's used to you being available all the time and suddenly your energy is invested elsewhere, she begins to feel the absence. She starts asking herself questions. Why isn't he reaching out? What's he doing? Who's he spending time with? That curiosity slowly chips away at her indifference and often drives her back to you. But the difference is, you didn't manipulate her. You simply lived your life and let her come to that realization on her own. Another powerful outcome of this approach is that it gives you options. By working on yourself, you naturally attract new opportunities, new people, and new experiences. Suddenly, her attention is no longer the center of your universe. And paradoxically, that's usually when she comes back, because women are most drawn to men who don't need them, but instead choose them from a place of abundance. The necessary ending here is this. When she ignores you, the best move is to shift that energy inward, build yourself up, and let her see that your life thrives with or without her. Now, when a woman ignores you, the worst thing you can do is react emotionally, because that's exactly what most men do. They panic, they overthink, and they try to force communication by blowing up her phone or demanding answers. But the truth is, reacting emotionally only confirms that she has power over you. Instead, the smart move is to remain calm and collected, almost as if her silence doesn't bother you at all. When you maintain emotional control, you show her that your happiness and peace of mind are not dependent on her behavior. That calm strength communicates volumes more than any words ever could. Women test men all the time, consciously or subconsciously, to see how solid they really are. Ignoring you can sometimes be a way of checking whether you'll fold under pressure. If you become desperate, clingy, or angry, you fail the test. But when you remain composed, it proves that you're grounded in yourself and not easily shaken. This is the kind of behavior that earns respect. It tells her that you are a man who doesn't lose his center just because someone pulls away. And respect is always the foundation of attraction. Without it, nothing else matters. Staying calm in these moments also gives you the upper hand. Think about it. If she ignores you and you immediately chase her, she learns that all she has to do is withdraw her attention to control you. But if she ignores you and you remain steady, living your life as usual, she begins to question whether her silence is even affecting you. That uncertainty often makes her more curious and, ironically, more drawn to you. It shifts the dynamic from you chasing her to her wondering about you. Now, there's also a deeper reason why calmness is so powerful. It reflects a man who has mastery over himself. If you can control your emotions in the face of rejection, you can control them in every other area of life. Women are instinctively attracted to this quality because it signals leadership, confidence, and strength. A man who can't control his emotions will always struggle in relationships, but a man who stays grounded inspires trust and admiration. Of course, this doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or pretend you don't care. It means you handle them in a mature way. You acknowledge your emotions privately, but you don't let them dictate your behavior. You take a step back, breathe, and respond with patience instead of impulsive reaction. Over time, this self-control becomes part of who you are, and people can sense it in how you carry yourself. The irony is that by staying calm when she ignores you, you often speed up the process of her coming back. Instead of pushing her further away with needy behavior, you give her the space to reflect, and that space makes her realize what she's missing. The necessary ending here is this: when she ignores you, calmness is your strength. Let your emotional control remind her that your value doesn't waver no matter what she does. When a woman ignores you, one of the most effective responses you can have is to double down on self-improvement. Instead of wasting energy worrying about why she's not responding or what she might be thinking, you redirect that focus toward yourself. You hit the gym harder, you build your career with more determination, you invest in your hobbies, and you sharpen your mind. This approach does two powerful things at once. It keeps your self-worth intact, and it makes you more attractive without you having to say a word. Growth is magnetic. People can sense when you're leveling up, and it naturally pulls them back into your orbit. Most men make the mistake of sitting still and obsessing when they feel ignored. They replay every detail in their head, looking for what went wrong, and they put their lives on pause waiting for her. But the man who takes silence as motivation to upgrade himself always comes out on top. Not because he's trying to prove anything to her, but because he's proving something to himself, that he is his own source of strength and fulfillment. That kind of mindset not only makes her notice, it makes everyone around you notice. When she sees you improving instead of sulking, it creates a contrast she can't ignore. She expected you to chase, to beg, to question or silence. Instead, she sees you looking healthier, more confident, more focused, more disciplined. That's when doubt creeps in for her. She starts to wonder whether ignoring you was a mistake, because clearly your value is increasing while she's on the sidelines watching. That shift in perception is powerful. Suddenly, she's the one thinking about what she could lose if she stays away too long. But even beyond how she perceives you, this path of self-improvement builds long-term resilience. Women will test you, circumstances will challenge you, but your ability to grow stronger from it all is what makes you unstoppable. You start to realize that your journey doesn't depend on her approval or attention. It depends on your own commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. And ironically, when you live like this, people chase you naturally. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth because it shines through in everything you do. Another key factor here is that women are drawn to men who are leaders of their own lives. If you're always waiting on her to validate you, you lose that leadership energy. But if you're out there building, improving, and evolving, you radiate independence. That independence makes her curious because now she's no longer the center of your world, you are. And a man who is centered in himself will always hold a stronger presence than one who bends to every silence and every mood. The deeper truth is this: when she ignores you, the best revenge isn't anger or chasing, is growth. Nothing unsettles her more than realizing her absence didn't slow you down, but actually made you better. So the necessary ending here is simple. Let her silence fuel your progress, and she'll come back not because you chased her, but because your growth made her realize she can't replace you,